There's nothing the white man can do that the black man can't do every bit as well. There's no level of intelligence that white people have that black people don't have as well. Not everybody feels that way, black or white. They look at differences in test scores between black and white students. They grow up seeing pictures of starving children in Ethiopia. They point out that black America seems to have a physical advantage over white America. So they assume white people must have a mental or intellectual advantage over black people. Oh, and let's not forget about these happy little moments. I'd show you some McDonald's fight videos, but what the fuck? The thing is, it's all an illusion. The videos, test scores, whatever's going on overseas, none of it has anything to do with equality or capability. The behavior of that woman in the video, it's 100% environmental, 0% genetic, which means it's temporary, soon to be extinct. She obviously grew up in an environment where that kind of crazy shit was on the table. More importantly, she wasn't the only person in the video. She thought she was, she acted like it, but she wasn't.
All the kids need to vacate the building. I don't know. It don't matter.
I especially like the guy recording it.
I don't know, but it's like explicit.
I'd like to think we can all agree that physical traits are genetic. How tall we are, the color of our eyes, how fast we can run. And in the same way that physical traits are genetic, mental or intellectual traits are not. Do you think Asian children are genetically superior to white children because they have higher test scores? Do you think Indian children are genetically better spellers than everyone else? Or do you think it might be environmental? I mean, think about it. We all come into the world the exact same way. Helpless and squirming and covered in mother goo. I mean, if that ain't equal, I don't know what is. And when that empty little baby brain opens its eyes for the first time and the camera goes on, everything it sees, feels, and experiences becomes its personality and intellect. And right now, that little black baby brain is seeing some suboptimal shit. Enter Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is a black man. He's also an astrophysicist. Whatever the hell that is.
This is called gravity.
He's very black. I'm a big believer in the concept of if one, then all. Meaning, in this case, if one black person can do something like that, then all black people are capable of it. Does that mean some random black dude on the street can ever know what Tyson knows? No, of course not. Neither can I. But a healthy baby, whatever their race, when that camera goes on, absolutely has the genetic ability to equal anything Neil deGrasse Tyson has done. If one, then all. Arsenio Hall. Oh, by the way, if Neil deGrasse Tyson turns out to have 20 bodies buried in his basement, I fucking give up. And finally, there's been a lot of talk over the years about how the black race was the most advanced race back in the early days, ahead of all others, descendants of kings and queens. And I think it's true. And I think I can prove it. We all know life began in Africa. That's where we all come from originally. If there was a Garden of Eden, it was in Africa. Back then, however, we were all one race. Not completely different from ourselves, just a lot shorter and hairier. And at some point, maybe 100,000 years ago, we started to migrate. The Asian man-to-be left Africa and headed east, where he created Japan and China. The white man-to-be left Africa and headed north, where he struck the motherlode, Europe. Not at first. At first, it was a frozen wasteland compared to Africa. Not as much above ground in Europe as there was back home, especially in the winter. So the white man-to-be is like, what the fuck? I'm freezing here. Eventually, he got so desperate that he started to dig. And one day, while he was digging, he heard a clank. It was a piece of metal. And then he found another piece of metal and ended up with a real cool piece of metal, a tool. And then he banged the tool against a tree, made himself some ships, and off he went. Necessity is truly the mother of invention. Point of the story is Africa was paradise. Lush foliage, fruit in the trees and on the ground, endless crops, and all the meat you could kill. But at some point, a bunch of people decided to leave this bounty, this embarrassment of riches, and go off into the great unknown. Maybe freeze to death, or get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Who does that? Back then? People with nothing to lose, that's who. The riffraff were the ones who left Africa, and the kings and queens were the ones who stayed.
YouTube shouted.